So in today's video, I'm going to discuss how to handle department politics. And essentially, I'm presuming here that you are a new faculty, you have joined a university or an institute, and you are trying to find your way in this new department. Now, one of the important things to remember is that the main friends or well-wishers for you at this point are going to be the chain of command which has hired you, which is the department chairperson, the dean, the director, or the president of the university. Now, you will find that many of the faculty will be somewhat weird in their responses towards you, and I am going to lay out some of the different people you are going to encounter and how you should be careful of them, and who are the people who should be good for you. So let's first start with the people whom I classify as the friendly professor. So there are going to be some people who are going to be very friendly toward you. And these people may take you out for coffee, tea, lunch, and so on. And they are going to chat with you. They are going to ask you about your experiences as a grad student, as a PhD. They are going to share some of their own wisdom about their job with you. Now, generally, these people are of two types. So I would say one of the types is that these people want something. So maybe they are talking with you and they want to be co-researchers in papers, discuss some research concepts with you, and so on, which is good. Now, there are also some of these friendly people who are actually negative for you. And these are people who have essentially retired from active research, are the backbenchers in the department, probably have not got their promotion at an appropriate time, and therefore will waste a lot of your time in gossiping, in spreading rumors, in discussing the various political aspects of the department, and so on. Now, one more aspect about these people is that they may be very negative in terms of their perception of the department and the research world at large. So there are people who may tell you that it was easy to publish papers when you were at a top research university, but now that you are in university XYZ, it's going to be much more difficult because they are going to see your institution in the paper, and this institution is not going to be as high in terms of reputation and rank as your PhD institution. They may also tell you about the different pitfalls in the university, in the department, and so on. Now, with all these people, the strategy is to listen to them and then do whatever you wish. So again, put a space between listening to them and action. So make sure that you take some of their input, because these people may be giving you some valuable input about the political structure of the university or the department. But do not fall for the negativity, because they have come from a bygone period and the experiences which they have had are not necessarily the experiences which you are going to have in the university. Now, next I would say there is a particular type of person who is not at all friendly towards you. So again, you may find some very weird people who may stare at you, who may cross the road to the different side when you are walking, and so on. Now, these are probably people who did not want you to join the university, who had some problem with your performance, with your research record, and they were actively trying to sabotage your case, but because of your merit, you probably made it through. Now, generally in a typical university setting, people do not lose something by being not friendly with you, and therefore you will encounter behavior which is considered quite weird in any corporate setting or government setting, which is not the university. Now, one of the things about these unfriendly people is that they can actually do you much less damage, because they are typically unfriendly, and therefore they will leave you to yourself and you can leave them to themselves, and if now and then you see them, you can nod at them, say hi, and go by. Now, sometimes I have seen that these unfriendly people will become your friends later in life when they see that you are a collegial member of the department, and you may find that some of the people who are friendly to you in the beginning stages may actually not be your friends after some time if you do not particularly follow their wishes or fall into their group or trap they have set for you. Now, the third type of people are essentially the good performers in the department, and these are typically the strong silent type. Now, one of the problems with this type of people is that they may not talk to you a lot because they are, by definition, very busy, they are working all the time, they have got a lot of things to do on the table, and so on. And therefore, you may have very limited interaction with them, and that is fine because these people will essentially judge you on the performance which you have done in the university later on. Now, one more type of person is the peer or the colleague of yours in the same rank. And this person again may be very friendly to you and he may be chatting with you a lot. But always be careful about discussing too many personal things with people in your peer group, because sometimes what may happen that the person may be a son-in-law or a daughter-in-law of some important dean or somebody, or maybe a nephew or niece of some university president or some well-connected person. So this is sometimes the case in many universities, and therefore make sure that you do not criticize any person in front of your peer groups, because you may not know the connectivity vectors till later in your career, and by that time the damage may have been done if you have been casually gossiping with these son-in-law type of people. Especially be careful when you go out for coffee breaks with your peers, because whatever you discuss during those coffee breaks comes back through the university grapevine to the chair, deans, different professors, and so on, and may cast aspersions on your personality. What happens typically in most institutes or places is that whatever gossip is conducted at a particular setting gets amplified and is propagated, and then various degree of noise is put into the system. So what the person actually hears is something very different from what you may have said. So once again, it's generally a good concept not to gossip about people, especially when you are a young faculty. You can save that for later in life. Now, typically there are groups in a department. So it is very difficult to see it at present, but soon you will realize that the department is partitioned into various groups. And these groupings build up over time and they have their own predilections. So each of these groups will try to get you to be a part of these groups. Now it is very careful to negotiate this terrain very well. So it is somewhat like a power play where powerful countries try to get a small country to be part of their domain. Now the trick here is to be like a Switzerland or a New Zealand where you are friends with all the countries and you really do not fight with a single country. That is the best way to become prosperous. Switzerland being one of the best examples here. So always try to be a Switzerland. Don't try to become one of the countries which are in a military pact with a particular group. Because what can happen is that the chairman and the power structure in the department can change, and today you may be part of one group, but then the chairman changes and then a rival group person becomes the chairman and you are still a junior faculty, so you may be susceptible to various deleterious consequences. Now, one particular type of person you will encounter is the so-called godfather, and this godfather could be a very powerful professor, and essentially this person will come to you and he may say that he can help you in various ways, and he can nominate you for various awards, prizes, fellowships, and so on. Now, it's of course a good idea to take the help of people whenever you can, but be sure that there are many people who are senior people who are willing to help you just if you go to them. And sometimes the people who come to you are actually the people who are the godfathers. And these people want to extract their own benefit from this particular relationship. So this benefit may be terms of you can help them to write papers, you can help them in their research activities, in supervising their students, and so on. So now one of the aspects of this kind of approach is that this person may co-opt you as a faculty graduate student into his own research lab and career, and in return for the various aspects in which he helps you, you may have to pay a high price in return. So, one of the important things to keep in mind is that don't cede your research to others. It is okay to work on one research problem with somebody else who is a senior professor, but do not work on all your research problems with a particular senior person, because then it will be conjectured that all the problems have come from this senior person and you are just somebody who is doing the work and implementing these problems. So always look for mutually beneficial relationships, and if you choose to work with senior faculty, make sure you work with a couple of them and not just one, and make sure that you do several problems on your own so that you are not branded as somebody who needs help all the time and who has not matured as a person. So there are various instances where quid pro quo type of situations are possible, but in these cases, make sure that you are also benefiting from these particular situations. Now, the other thing is that you should always maintain a good network outside your own university or department, because you should not only rely on the network within the university, because when it comes time to get references and letters for your promotions, you are going to need these letters from people who are outside the university. So, very often in many institutes and departments, the relationships outside the university are more important than the relationships within the university. And that is why you see so many of these unfriendly professors, because they know that you do not matter to them. What matters to them is their own research group, which is spread around the world, and this is the group which is going to help them. So this is a very big demarcation when it comes to working in a university as compared to working in a company, where all the people are essentially working in something together towards a common goal. In a university, all the faculty are working towards their own goal, and somehow in the process, all these own goal focused people add up and they help the university or the department to grow. So this was some of my insight about how to look into department politics. Again, to summarize, the chain of command is very important. Keep your eye on the chair, the dean, and the director, and prospective people who are going to be the next chair, dean, and director, and always be very friendly with them. The chain of command is actually somebody who wants to help you to flourish, because these are the people who have given you the job and they want you to do well. The remaining people do not really have a vested interest in your progress, and therefore how you pick and choose who to you be your friends and who to be your research collaborators depends largely on whom you like and whom you can get something from in terms of research, respectively. So, these are some of the concepts I had for you today. I hope you enjoyed this video. Stay tuned to my channel for more such videos. Thank you very much.